by saying that I'm sure you'll soon discover that I'm an immigrant. I came with my family when I was 9 years old. We were poor, we had nothing. I worked through school, paid my way through college, and I earned an engineering degree and an MBA in finance. I went on to reach some of the highest levels in corporate America, becoming the vice president at Chase Manhattan Bank and the vice president at Citigroup before founding my own company for the past 22 years. I got into government to give back to the community that has been so good to me. And the moral here is that you can achieve whatever you set your mind, whatever your dreams may be, if you're prepared to work and work hard. And that's what I attribute the success that I've achieved. Working hard, finding your chosen profession or endeavor that you have a passion for. If you don't have a passion for whatever you're pursuing, don't try it, give it up. Find something that you love and you will become successful. The competition is keen and you're gonna need all your talents sharpened to the nth degree in order to compete and be successful. Beyond passion is ethics. They don't teach you ethics in school. At least they didn't taught it when I went to school. I don't know if they teach it nowadays. But it's so critically important, and that's how you can differentiate yourself. It's so very easy to break the rules, to gain a competitive advantage, to get a promotion. But I assure you, it will be noticed, it will be marked, and once you start walking that fine edge, you will continuously step over the line, and that will be a reflection of your character. So ethics and character are very important, and I want to let you know that don't think that you can get away with it. You may for a short period of time, but you will be called out, and it will be a mark on your careers for many, many years going forward. But adhering to high ethical standards will be an asset that will be recognized and rewarded, and you will advance much further in life with a solid set of ethics. Equally important is clear thinking and writing. Again, these are skills that are not taught in school, but it's so critical to any leadership position that you will have. You need to be able to think clearly, to clearly define your objectives, your goals, and being able to express them in writing, because that is the most effective way you will communicate and you will be recognized for your achievements. As the Nassau County Comptroller, that I was elected approximately 2.5 years ago, I went up against a two-term incumbent that people said I was wasting my time, could not be beat. But once I set my sights on it, I was determined to win, and of course I did. And again, the moral is hard work, being focused on the goal, and once you set your sights on the goal, give it all you have. Give it all you have. Put your heart and soul into it, and you will find that in most cases, you will be successful. You will find a way, you will always find a way to get the work done. Yes, there will be bumps in the road. You will be distracted, but if you have a clear goal and perseverance and the determination, you can succeed. When we took over Nassau County government, we inherited a government and a budget that was literally on the brink of bankruptcy. No money in the bank, no fund reserves, $155 million deficit. And as you all know, Nassau County was branded as one of the highest tax counties in the state, if not the country. So there was no room to raise property taxes. And I'm proud to say that in 2.5 years that we've been there, in the first year alone, we reorganized government, we streamlined the various departments and operations, we cut expenses, and we turned that deficit into a $25 million surplus. That is what fiscal responsibility and management, ladies and gentlemen, can do. Setting your mind on the goals and getting to work to achieve those goals. And at the same time, we did not cut social services that are needed to depend on, or, of course, raise property taxes because our residents could not afford to pay more. So we were very sensitive to both needs of our property owners and our need. And we did it while absorbing some outrageous cost increases. 20% increase in health insurance premiums, 25% increase in pension contributions, and other inflationary costs. And as we announced last week, for the second consecutive year, we are projecting that we will end in balance. That is a remarkable achievement. And it's a testament to good management, clearly defining what is the role of government, what are the services, the essential services that government needs to provide, and then putting the processes in place and the management structures in order to cost effectively deliver those services that government needs to provide and not be distracted by extraneous objectives that usually are costly. So we think that Nassau County has been stabilized. We're not out of the woods, by all means. We are continuing to face fiscal challenges. Our revenues continue to be flat, while our expenses continue to grow, and our various unfunded mandates by both the federal government and the state government that are increasingly put a significant and rising burden on our county government. So we don't know how long we'll be able to maintain the current situation. I think for 2012 we have proposed also a balanced budget. This is sufficient, significant challenges, and as you've been reading about, we've had to resort to certain layoffs. We've had to consolidate police departments, the police precincts, but we always did it with the objective that we would not sacrifice the services of government or public safety, and I think we've achieved that to a large extent. At the same time, from a financial perspective, we've reduced the amount of borrowing that we need to fund government by 75% in 2.5 years. And we've cut what's called the structural deficit, or the structural gap, which is the difference between operating revenues, or current revenues and current expenses, to the lowest it's been in over 10 years. So those are important metrics. You gotta have metrics in management to measure yourself, to measure performance, and to measure how well you achieve those goals, given historical standards. So all the metrics that we have in Nassau County have been turning positive for the past 2.5 years. But again, I stress that unless our economy improves and we see increased revenues, either from sales tax or property tax through economic development, then we may not be able to continue to provide the same levels of services going forward. So let's hope our economy does provide. And I want to put into perspective what we've done in Nassau County vis-a-vis what is happening at the national level with our government. And as you know, at the federal level, we have a budget deficit approaching anywhere from 1.2 trillion to 1.5 trillion, which is about 30% of our national budget. And I don't need to tell you that our national debt has surpassed 16 trillion, which is approximately now 120% of our GDP as a ratio. Really frightening statistics. And we're seeing this growth in the national debt and unsustainable high deficit when we're supposed to be in an economic recovery. As I was commenting before to some of the staff, that hasn't happened to my knowledge in any prior economic recovery where we need stimulus to keep the economic recovery going. So at the same time, we continue to run huge budget deficits, and our national debt is continuing to increase. And you should be concerned. We should all be concerned about the national debt, because as young people entering the job market, ultimately you might experience higher taxes, lower opportunities, and a lower standard of living. And that's how we keep saying, we keep hearing, you know, that this debt that is going to be put on the backs of our children. Well, your generation may have to bear some of that burden, and that's something we should be certainly very concerned about. What I found coming from private industry into government is that most of the government employees, and certainly the policy makers, the politicians, tend to be attorneys without any or very little prior business experience or real life experience. That was shocking too. Well, I should say it wasn't shocking, because we all see it. But what was remarkable to me is that they didn't have the necessary preparation to be in policy positions to deal with real life problems. You know, the setting clearly defined goals, making sure that they have the funding to accomplish those goals, putting together teams or organizing departments to achieve those goals. But most importantly, when, as I first indicated, if you cannot define clearly what your goals are, you'll never achieve them. And that's, I think, the value that I brought, given my background to county government, being able to bring some professional management, advise the policymakers, the county executive, the legislature, that we need to clearly define what are the roles, what are the services that government needs to provide, what is the role of government, and what are the resources that we have in place if we're not willing to raise property taxes or sales taxes to achieve those goals and to continue to provide the essential services that government needs to provide. And in reviewing the budget, which is one of the county controller's responsibility, and also to some extent approving the budget, I insisted on significantly lower borrowing to fund operating expenses, insisted on productivity improvements in government, and clearly defined goals. And I'd like to think that, you know, those basic principles that we all take for granted usually are not followed in government. Exactly the opposite. You know, what you hear about government is usually true, that it's about patronage, about doing favors, and never a clear definition of priorities and goals. So certainly graduates with business experience, with real life experience are needed in government, on all levels of government, but also in political office. once you have experience, you can think logically, you develop a practical mind, you have a sense of reality, and therefore you can define goals that are beneficial to people and work on delivering those goals and those services. I'm told some of you here are political science majors, so I needed to say something about political science. And to me, political science is more than, well, it is the science of governing, but it's also has to be government science of people working together. And too often that is lacking in government. And again, I attribute it back to that the people that we have, the elected officials, tend to be, in most cases, attorneys. And attorneys know how to argue and fight with one another, rather than get in a room, find common ground, compromise for the common good. To my surprise, I found out that is not happening in government. So it's very important in political science to stress the art of people working together, solving their differences, and coming out in a united fashion for the common good. The last remark I want to make is that as you set out to conquer the world, I guess like I did many years ago, I want to let you know that you are as good as everyone else out there if you're prepared to work for it. But also you need to realize that you should not have a chip on your shoulder that you're not any better than most other people out there. It's going to be a very competitive situation, but if you set your mind to whatever is in your passion, whatever is in your heart, you can achieve it if you're prepared to work hard. So with that, I'll end, and I'm happy to take your questions.